Keying out your green screen footage in Blender is very simple as long as you have a really good green screen footage to start off with, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But go up to Compositing in Blender, hit A, X to delete, Shift A, search, add an image. And an image in a video is going to be the same for us either way. We're just going to look for our green screen video that we want to use. And the next thing we're going to do is add a keying node, and that's the node that's going to do the work here to get the green screen out. So drag from image over to image. Let's add an alpha convert node. And let's add a composite node. That'll be the final output of what we're going to have in our final video. Let's also add a viewer so we can see what's going on. Let's put that there and drag the same thing from the alpha convert into the image. Right away we can see what we're going to get, which is not there yet. So we'll just use V to zoom out. You can use Alt V to zoom in. You can hold Alt and middle click to drag your preview around. That's coming straight from the viewer here. Okay, so in the keying node, we can see the key color. We can widen this up a bit just so we can see what's going on. Key color is white. That's not it. So select a color. Just use the eyedropper to pick a color. And you can see because this video was really successfully lit, let's pick a bad color, this is a great green screen video because when you're lighting your green screen, you want a lot of light on the green screen. You want it to be as even as possible. No shadows, no edges, no borders. And the next thing is you want to separate your person from the green screen as much as possible physically by moving them further away from the screen and moving the camera and the person back as much as you have room to, and then lighting them independently, especially having backlight from above and side light to sort of cut them out of the background of the green. And you can use pink and orange, which are colors that are opposite of green, on the back and top and around the actor in order to make them have sort of a not green edge. You can even dial that color saturation down a lot so that it doesn't show up as colorful necessarily on the footage. And so if you have a good green screen video and you have this node set up and you pick the green screen color, then you can see right away that it looks pretty decent. Let's just zoom in here and see what exactly we're getting. So there's a lot of settings in the keying node that you can use to make it look better. But this is the basic thing. If we were to hit F12 right now, our render would be this figure, no green screen, pretty successful. But the things that are standing out are the jaggedy edges and a little bit of green spill. So let's just mess with some settings and see what we can get. The main settings that control the green screen are clip black and clip white. And if your lighting of your green screen is not as successful as the one in this video, you can adjust these to sort of get more or less of what's being cut away. But the ideal settings for these is for black to be 0 and white to be 1. Dilate and erode is a way that you can, either by going positive or negative, affect the edge of what is being left. So at -14, quite a lot is being cut away, but there's no weird green edge at all. So looking for a balance here, maybe -1. Maybe that's not a good setting for you. You may want to go down to feather and feather it instead. Feathering, instead of cutting it away, sort of fades it away. Even just a little bit of feathering can make a big difference. The same with post blur. For this video, the settings that I'm finding the most useful are -2, so taking 2 pixels off of the edge of the whole figure, -7 feather distance, and 4 in the post blur. So that's giving us a pretty clean render here that we could use to put into a scene. For your output, the best thing to do, output is up here under the printer. For your output, the best thing to do is to output individual frames of this video. That way, if it messes up halfway through, you can always come back. And also, you could do that in your final product as well. You could make changes to each individual thing without having to totally re-render the entire video. You should output all of your products that way until you're ready to send your final product film out into the world. Always output everything as individual video frames. So I'm going to select a folder that's convenient for me, and you should do the same thing. Now for our output, we're going to choose, if you are working locally and you don't have to worry about file size, you might choose TIFF and go to no compression. But if you want to send these files around and you don't need the quality to be totally perfect, let's say that this actor is going to be in the distance or behind a window or something like that, you can choose PNG and you can put some compression on it. That will make the file much smaller. But whichever one you choose RGBA. Red, green, and blue, and then the alpha. The alpha, of course, is what makes the rest of the video file be transparent. The fact that the alpha is of 0, there's nothing being shown there. And that's why you need to use a PNG or a TIFF so that there's an alpha channel. Some images like JPEGs don't have that, and so the area around the footage would just appear to be black. So now we have it set up to output this, and we'll just output 250 frames. Which is what the default of Blender is. So now it should look pretty good, but just one last check. I can grab the blue handle and sort of pan through the video to see what we would get. And I see where I made a mistake. So it's important that you go back to your image over here and choose how many frames you want to use. Now you can see that moving the blue handle, the video is responding to the playback bar pretty well. And all the frames that I'm seeing look pretty good. You can look and see if the worst thing is when there's a little bit of green spill or something on the actor, and that's causing parts of their hair or their face or their hands or their pants, which is frequently the areas where you find it, to disappear. So this looks good throughout. So let's hit render animation, and this is going to spit these individual image files out as frames into the folder that you selected. So when you follow the next video and you go on to import your video frames as a video file, this is the folder you'll be looking for to choose as your source. Thank you very much. Let me know if there are any questions out there, and I'll see you next time.